Guys, I hope that you are enjoying your time. Yeah, we are almost now in this, and we can say in the last quarter of this semester, because I think so that we still have almost 4 to 5 weeks. Let me double check exactly how many weeks we still have. According to the calendar, we will stop teaching in Friday, 10th December. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will have more 4 weeks, so more 4 lectures before the end of the semester. So the last lecture will be 7th of December in this case. Also the material, we have good progress. So the main core of the course we have already discussed. Today we will talk about how we can connect a C++ program to file in order to have a permanent save for a data. Again, this is a structured programming, so we are not going to talk about object-oriented. The next semester we have 2 more advanced programming courses. The first one concerning OOP, object-oriented programming, and the second one is about algorithm and data structure, so we'll go more advanced in algorithm and data structure. So today we'll have this lecture about input-output, how we can connect, as I said, this program file to this program to a file in order to save a permanent data. Since you also, maybe later during your study, you will have more advanced courses about how you connect a software to a database. However, in the meantime, you are still in a very entry level, so you should somehow be familiar how to connect to a text file to save simple data. Again, concerning assignment 2, I have already published most of the grades. I will send also a mail about it today when we finish the lecture. Maybe some of you, they did not have checked the Blackboard, but most of you should have already received the grades. The last lecture, I talked about the assignment and that there are some students, they are copying, paste, and the solution from the internet. And sometimes they would go ahead and copy a C code, because C and C++, they are very, very similar, but C++, it is advanced programming higher level language compared to the C code. And one of the assignment, I have a Java code also. So please do your best, write the code that you feel that you can do it. You can go online and double check different codes and benefit from that, and then rewrite the code using your own syntax. If I feel that you make a good effort, and even though because I double check most of the code and go ahead and double check and run the code to see if there is an error and if there is some errors. And also I have already left some feedback for some of you that I believe that they need this feedback to enhance their performance. So go ahead and write your own code in order me to help you. Because, for example, there are some of you that I saw that there is some gap in their understanding and the way they can understand how to deal with the code. So I left for them a feedback to help them to enhance their performance and make a good orientation for them, especially that most of you that I can see here in the live session. So it's a good opportunity to let me make this gap analysis, if it is a correct word to use it, to see where the gap and give you a good orientation on this. So if you go ahead and copy and paste a code from the internet, I will know, because I know what is expected from a student in this level, what kind of a code he has going to do. Some students, they go and copy and code from the internet, and this code is based on different references. They keep the references. They don't know that this is a reference code that this code is based on. So don't do it. Not in only my course, in other courses. So special programming courses, you should pay an effort as if you are learning a new spoken language. So if you are now, you know English and you are going to learn French. So do you believe that if you copy paste text from the online, you are going to learn French, or you are going to practice it? Or any spoken, the same like programming. If you don't practice it, you will never learn it. You will never learn it. So, and most of you, they are either computer science program or information technology program or diploma, whatever it is. So all of you need to practice this. I hope this is the last advice I give it to you on this. So if you write a code that isn't, I did it for many of you, that there are some codes that they give me an error. However, I believe that this student has already made an effort and write his own code. I give him a full mark for this. Because for me, it is not a black and white, which means that even though the code, it is not a runnable code, however, it has a logical syntax. So I will give him a push and help the student that by giving a full grade for this one. So be honest, write your code, go ahead and do it, and let me help you to make this gap analysis. Maybe I will leave you some comments, some references that you can go ahead and go and read more in order to enhance and upgrade your level of performance. Last point concerning project. You should expect an email about project this week, because I said to you from the beginning that the first week of November, I will break you down and also in I will give you some topics and give you a general guideline. So it means that when I give you a topics, I will give you flexibility in order that not to give so detailed requirement, give you flexibility. Maybe you will upgrade the requirement. However, I will give you different topics. And also I give you an option that if you doesn't like one of the topics, you as a group, you can suggest a topic and can I approve it for you. So I will give you a guideline about this week, and we will have almost 1 month to deliver the project. When I said 1 month, mean that the aim from this, that go ahead and do this project by yourself at home with you as a group and see what is the best solution to do it. And you need to make either I will give you I'll give you the stage for the last live session that each group can go ahead and make a presentation if they want, and if they don't want to join the last live session, they should make an internal recording, like make a team. Most of you have now a Microsoft Team account, so you can make a team meeting and record the presentation internally within the same group, and you share with me the video. So I will give a portion from the grade for the presentation. Again, I will give portion from the project grade for the presentation. Why I'm doing this? Because I believe you as a student, they should have the capability to present their own work, because one of the parameters that we should consider when we as instructors or a coach, whatever it is, our job description it is, helping these students to go to the market, they should have at least some knowledge, some practice to make a technical presentation about what they are doing. So a portion from the grade of the project will be for the presentation. And since it is asynchronous online course, which means that doesn't mean that you should be live with me. So in this case, go ahead and make a recording with the group internally without me being with them, and then share with me the video. Or if you prefer, in order that you can make a discussion with me and clarify your ideas in a better way, and you have time, so I will give the stage for the last live session for the groups that they are interested in make a live presentation with me and make for their project.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Kirsten.
So for the final project, do we have choices on what we're going to do, or are you going to assign us like a certain topic?
I will give you a certain topic and I'll give you a space that you can create your own topic.
Okay.
So these topic will be some, let's say, sample topics. However, if you believe that you have some idea and you want to do it, I will give you the space, and then, but it need an approval from me. Which means that I will publish some topics and you see, okay, I have another idea, I like to do it. So the group will, one of the group will send me an email, CC all the others, to be sure that all the others agree on this. And then they will send me an email and said, okay, we have this idea, what do you think? So if I believe that this idea can be a project and you will benefit from it, I will approve it by email so you can go ahead and do it. I will put all this guideline when I will by the end of this week.
Okay.
Perfect. Any more question about this? So we can start. Perfect. Okay, so input-output stream. We are somehow familiar with the input-output stream. We talked about it before, and we said that input-output stream is we use it to get an input from the keyboard using cin, and we are going to do an output using cout to the screen from the program. This is so far what we know about input-output stream. So there are some functions that we use it, and normally they will be part, as I said, this course is not an object-oriented, so this is why I didn't talk about the concept of object classes, even though you are now familiar with the concept of or what it means by a class or mean by object, but we didn't go to this concept in the detail because there is inheritance, polymorphism. You are going to learn it next semester if you register the course. However, so far, what you need to understand that there are predefined code. This code is about set of classes. Each class will have parameters and methods. Group of set of classes will be in a package or a library. And then we need, whenever we want to use this function from this predefined class, we should include this class at the beginning. This is what we have done from the first day when we said include iOS or use namespace std. Because we are going to use a predefined code, which is a cout. This predefined code is being done in the iOS stream. So, however, sometimes we can have a class and we can have a subclass, which means another class that can inherit all the code from the upper class plus additional class. So far we know about input output, which is cout, taking the code from here and print out the code, taking the input, from here and print out the output for the screen here. However, also using this input output stream, we can go ahead and read from a file and save in the file. Because sometimes there are some data that we needed to be saved for a permanent time. Because most of the variables now that we are dealing with them, whenever these variables, they will, let's say, they will, after you shut down your program, these variables will, the value of these variables, because they are saved in the temporary memory in the RAM or the cache. In this case, when you shut down your program, all these values will not be saved anymore. However, there are some data you can save it either in a database, which is more advanced data storage, and this database, as I said, if you are going to deal with it in more advanced courses, you have a set of tables and saving data on it. Or you can save data in some files, but normally we save data in files when it will be a simple data. Most of the time we save data in a database whenever this data concerning data talk about, let's say about like you have an accounting system, you save the balance of the customers, you save the sales. So you need a good structure to save this data. This is what is a database. However, so far, since we are on a very introductory level, it will be interesting that you will learn how to save a data in textual file. So in order to do this, as the same as we did before, that getting the data from the keyboard using input-output stream, the same, we will use a predefined function in input-output stream classes that just we are going to call these functions. However, to call these functions, we need to include these classes in the header of about our program. So why I said why we use files, to have a permanent storage for some data, that whenever we shut down our program, we still can retrieve these data later whenever we need it. And it is two direction, which means that we retrieve data from the file and we can save data and new data in the file. So it is a bi-directional connection with the file. I said connection, by the way. So we need to have this connection before with the file, before we start insert selecting. So the cycle for the file input output, somehow similar with the cycle when we talk about input from the keyboard and output from the screen, that we should have a disk files, whatever it is. Either we go to the generic file for the operating system .dat, or we can go to the text.txt file that we so far we know it. And then we can use InputStream, we can read from the data. But our program using this, and then our program can go ahead using OutputStream, write a data in the file. As simple as. So InputStream and the OutputStream, they are predefined, they are objects from a classes where there are predefined functions. A class is a set of functions of attribute, as we said from the beginning. An object can be instance from this class. Again, the class or object-oriented programming or class-object programming style, there's a standing alone course that next semester you can register it and you can also run from this. And also, if it is according to your study plan, you can register this course next semester, go ahead and do it, because it's a good cycle, or it's a good plan to finish structured programming and go ahead next semester and go OOP. So you still your mind is somehow, you practice mind in a good manner, going up and up in the logical programming thinking of your mind. So this is good, not to make a huge gap, then take this structured course. I don't know each one of you based on the program, how is the study plan for him, but if the study plan gives a space for you that to go ahead and register object-oriented programming after this structured programs that you have already done this semester, go ahead and do it to keep a good track and to enhance your skill in a good manner in this case. So stream variables, as I said, input output stream, as this is you know about it, like cin, here cout. And there are another class which is inherit from this class all function plus new functions that's concerning file stream. So we will get accustomed to if stream or off stream. So as if input out stream that we have to go cin cout to go from the keyboard and put on the screen, we will now deal also with a special kind from the input stream and a special kind from the output stream, which is the if stream and off stream, to read write from a file in this case. So like other variables that first, before we use these objects, we should include the file that has their declaration, which is the class in this case. Like as we did before, we said include input output stream. We can now also include fstream in this case. And then after we create this object, we can using all functions based on what predefined. So as based on our own knowledge so far, that you can declare a function and then you can call it. So now we are dealing with a predefined function that we need to have to call it. We don't have to declare it. It is being defined by somebody else. In this fstream class, we just include it and then we call these functions. We don't have to create our own, since they are predefined functions, and then that we can use them and benefit from what others has already declared for us and implement. Just we call these functions. So the general input-output step, as simple as can be: first, we declare the stream variable. So we are dealing with a file. So either we need to make an input from, get an input from the file, or send an output, or maybe both. In both, we are going to read, then we are going to save. So we have to declare, which means that creates this object that we are going to deal with it. Then after we create this object, we have to assign this object to which file is going to do it, because when you talk when you take cin, that based on what so far we have already practiced. So cin means that you are going to get a value from the keyboard. However, here when you talk about fstream, okay, you are going to read from a file, but what is the file that you are going to read and about it? So after you create this stream object, you should assign a file name to it in order to go ahead and deal with this file. And you do it once, which means that create an instance from this file and assign an instance from this stream and assign a file to it. And then later you go ahead and deal with this file. So you just do it once in your program till you close, then you will destroy this object. So open the file, use the file, then close the file. This is how the main steps, this is the general steps that we are going to do here. Today we are going to learn the basics about how to read a file. Next lecture will be more advanced tool to use it. So, okay, so as I said, we have to include the fstream, the same that we did before with the IO stream, to use this function. And the namespace will be the same std that we used before. So after I include, I will create an object instance from this type, fstream. I name it instream. You can name it x, y, z, whatever it is. So it is from this type. Because I have already done the include, then I can create an instance from this object in order then to call different functions that they are already declared here. So using this object that I have already created from this type, after I included here fstream in my program, now I can use different functions that they are already being declared here. Also, if I want to write on the file, which means I have to declare another input-output file, I said off-stream this time. So stream here, ifstream, that input, and then I can again have this such kind of output file. So I do it off-stream in this case. So after I create this object from this, either from this fstream, either it will be an in file or out file. I name it xyz, for example, here. I created two objects, one off-stream and one ifstream. One I name it in-stream and one I name it out-stream. So I thought then I can use a predefined function that they have already been declared in this class. One of them is open. Open means that, as I said, that after you create this object, where using this object you can go ahead and call different functions defined there. So you said you should tell this object where is the file, this object, where is the file that you are going to deal with it based on the steps that we talked about it, that we said here. Let's return to here the step here. We said here that, sorry, here. Yeah. So we have to declare the stream variable. Then we are going to associate with the disk file name that we are going to deal with it. This is the second step in this case. So here I said, okay, then go ahead, open in file that. You should be here, either you will give a name or you give the full path of the file. If you give a name, then the file should be saved in the same place where your program is being saved. So if your program has a file, the main file is that where you are going to execute your code is main.cpp, for example, is in C user, a special folder, whatever it is. So the file that you are going to deal with it should be in the same folder. Or you are going to give the complete path here. So if you didn't give the path here, which means that this file is being saved in the same place where the file that you are executing the code is already saved. So take care for this. Or give the complete path in this case. So now, how I can do it, the same as I work with CNC out so far, what we do, that I said here, I declared two variables, integer, one number, another one, another number. Suppose that I'm dealing with a file here that has two lines. Here, in the first line, there is one, and second one, there is two. Because the input stream either will go ahead and will pick the data, and then the data that you are going to pick it should be separated either by blank or new line. So when I said input stream, I said one number, which means that go ahead, the first line, save it in this variable. And the second line, go ahead and save it in the second and the second one in this case. In the second line, go ahead and save it in the second variable, sorry.
Okay, so
go ahead, Kirsten.
Sorry, the data, like it just goes down the line. Like, how does it know what type of data to put in which variable?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, this is you should have no. Either you as a programmer, you know that this file that you are dealing with it, you have a predefined knowledge about what is the data here. For example, that I suppose that I'm dealing with a file that has an integer values, or you have to double check this value and make some casting, which means that if it is a character or a string, you are going to do it and to change it to integer. So it depends for you as a programmer. So because we are dealing with a very basic case, so since we are there and we have a predefined knowledge about this file that has only one value per line, and each line it is an integer value, so we go ahead and read it and save it in a variable. However, in the practical real life scenario, you should double check this if you don't have a pre-knowledge about the file. If you don't have a pre-knowledge about the file, in this case, you as a programmer in your software, you have to do all these restrictions. Yeah, maybe when you go ahead to make a real project, you should consider this, because in most of the cases, since we are dealing in a very simple code, even though in the output that take it from the user, we didn't make something, we name it input-output validation, which means that to validate the input from the user before you save it in a variable, you are going to validate as if it is as it's being expected or not. However, in our case, we always, because we are dealing with a simple scenario, we consider that what we take from the input is what we expect. Again, it is not the real life scenario. So this is what a programmer has to take care and make different restrictions. So the same as we do from the input, from the output also, we have to relate the output stream to the file that you're going to output, and then you can say like this, go ahead and make the output. The same I can make it in cout. You can write one number equal, then write the value, another number equal, so it will save it here, one number equal, and then save the value here, another one. So the file name we use here, that one, that is, let's say it is a very generic file that's used by the operating system. Maybe you are not got accustomed to it. It is more simple. It's used for simpler text. Normally we deal with more text file, but that it is a very generic used by the operating system that all different programs can do it, because it is very generic one. and we use it to save, let's say, textual simple text data. But you should be aware that the external file you are dealing with it, you know the file name with the extension. As you see that when I have to deal with a file, I have to go ahead and put the file name with the extension. So normally you are going to deal with a .dat, the generic file, or with .txt, which means the textual file. Sometimes you deal more advanced extension, but you should take care about how you are going to read from them. Sometimes you need some API, which is API, it is a terminology, we use it as advanced program interface, which is some special files we need an interface to deal with them. This is also more advanced, and more advanced courses we are going to deal with it. So far we can deal with two main file, either .dat or .txt, the simpler text file also. So when you are going to send the file name, you have to send the extension and the path, if there is a special path. No path means that the file and the program file are there on the same folder. So when you finish from the file, this is a complete code that we have already discussed so far. We have to close the stream object. Why you are going to close? Because you should be disconnected from the file. Because now you finish reading, writing on the file. So you don't have to make this chain of connection, because keeping this chain of connection, sometimes if your program file later after you finish have some abnormality, don't affect this file. Plus, because maybe some other programs has to deal with it, so not to keep this connection with it. So you finish, go ahead and close it. How you close it? You call the method close. So this is a complete code that we have already discussed so far, that I will include fstream, and also you can write namestamps here or here, both are correct. Then I create this two different objects, one ifstream, one ofstream object. I name it InstreamOutputStream. This is, you can name it whatever you want. So just the other stream object. I can't create this without including fstream. Like before, I can't call cnc out without include iosstream. So I have to include fstream here. And then I relate the instream to the ARM file, and then I relate the outstream to output file. They can be related to the same file. It's up to you if you want to read and write. But when you finish reading, if it is the same file, close the input and then go ahead and make writing open now. So we can do it if we are dealing with the same file, that go ahead, read, close, write, open, close, as we did. We are now dealing with two different files here. So after I create the object, I make the connection with the files with different object. And now I have already made three variables, I name it. So the M file, before we start reading, that has these values, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he has 4 lines. In each line has one integer values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a file before we start executing our program. So we said in fstream, we call it 1, 2, 3 times. So each time in fstream you make this operator, then you will call, you will get this value, the first value. I said that fstream for the fstream, so either there is, the next value is the value in the next line or the next blank. So it read 1, it save it in the first, then it read 2, it save it in the second. Oh, sorry. Then it read 3, it save it in the third. Oops, what's up? So this is, so after we finish this, we read 3 lines, and each value was saved in different variables. So the variable first, second, third first have 1, 2, 3. Now I go to the output stream, I said the sum, I read a line, the sum of the first three, I make a new line, so it will go to a new line. Take care for this. You have when you are writing, you should go ahead and make a new line, because if this, it will write in the same line in this case. So, and then I said it is number in the file that I write another text. So these two texts, they are two defined texts. I write it. So this is the first one, second one. So I said is, and then I make another one. I said first, this is the three value. First, the second, the third. So this has 1, this has 2, this has 3. I make the addition and send it to our file. So is 6, and then I make end line, and then I make a close with this in file, and then I make a close with this output file. So now the input file doesn't change, because I only I read from it. I didn't make any writing, so there is I didn't write in this file, so it is the same as if just I read, because it was connection to InputStream, not to OutputStream, so InputStream just read it from it. And here the output file, before I start my program, was empty. Now it should now has this. So if I close my program, shut down my program, and go and open the output file, so in this case, I should have this saved in my output file. So I hope that's so clear to this. So if you have any question before I can continue, just tell me. If not, sorry, Lisa, just I see that you have already left my message. I'm sorry, I don't know if you left it before or no. Oh. Lisa, I'm sorry, it seems that you have already sent me a message almost a minute ago. So we didn't use CN here. So is it clear for you? You want me to answer your question, or it's clear now? So it's clear, yes. Okay. So no, we don't use CN, because we didn't take an input from the keyboard, so no CN needed. CN is related to an input from the keyboard. So we just deal with the file. So we make an input from the file using fstream, and we make also an output using fstream. However, we use IFstream, input stream, fstream, and we use output fstream, which is the offstream in this case. So there is no need to CN, because we are not taking. According to what we do, it will not make an output in the screen. No output in the screen. It will save in the file the sum. Before we start the program, the output file was empty. There was nothing in the output file. We are dealing with two files. The input file has 4 lines, and in each line there is one value. So in the first line there is 1, in the second line there is 2, in the third line there is 3, in the fourth line there is 4. We read the first 3 values in the first 3 lines. We put each value in a variable, and we make a summation for them. The sum, we save it in the output file. So now we are dealing with the files. So we are not dealing with CNC output in this scenario. You can deal with it. We can see now with the group work that we do it. You can ask the user to input, and then you save it in the file. So how we can update the file? As we did here, Kura, using InputStream, because the file now we have already updated. The file was empty, and we saved this file. So using the InputStream, you can send different values you needed, and using the InputStream, you can read from the file. So far now, yeah, it will not give error, a virage, if we don't make a close. But we said it is better. It will not give you an error, because if you didn't close it while the program is being executed, and you shut your program, so these 2 objects will be destroyed automatically, which means that as if you are closed them. But I said that sometimes during your code, you will have many lines. If you finish dealing with the file, Before you go to another step in your program, which means, for example, you are going to calculate the average and then go to the average and ask for another input from the user. It has nothing to do with the file. So if you finish with the file, go ahead and close the connection before you will go to other steps in your program. And it's better in order not to affect the file if there is abnormality happen, and to make it free to any new connection to be used with this file. However, if you didn't close it, or if you didn't call the close and you shut down your program, so it will be automatically closed in this case, because this object, it will be automatically destroyed in this case. Is it clear, Viraj? I said, if the program that you are dealing with it, if the program dealing with it is now shut down, then it's now the stream object is being automatically destroyed, which means that there is a close connection. We are not talking about lock, no lock. We are not talking about lock. However, we are talking about a management for the file. Imagine this, you are writing and suppose that another file will go this here. There is a mismanagement of the update of the file. We are not talking about the locking the file. We are talking that if you now finish, go ahead and close it and keep another new connection to do it, to finish after what you have already done. In the next lecture, I will talk more about advanced, because now we have also, today we'll not talk about it. Next lecture, I will talk about it, for example, if I need a special, to get the output in a special template, how to deal with different characters, how to deal with the output to save it in a special format. All this I will deal with in the next lecture. But I'm not talking about locking the file now, no. Just I'm talking the management of the update, that when you finish the open, go ahead and close it. And if you shut down your program, will be automatically closed. Is it clear? Is it clear for you, Cora and Viraj? Perfect. What about you, Cora? Perfect. So now Kerson told me, okay, what about, do you know about the input that you take it should be in this type? I said, okay, you should go ahead and do it. And you as a program, either you have a pre-knowledge about the file, then you expect what is the type of the data you are going to get it from the file. Or sometimes before we will go to further, start, read, write, whatever, we should be sure that this file exists. So, and before we will go to read and write, we should be sure that the opening or the closing that we have already done is almost, let's say, that what we open, the file exists and the connection is good. So we should be aware that the connection is being already established with the file and there is no error. So if there is an error, should be catch this error. How we can do it? We can use the fail function. What is a fail function? And then we can there than exist. So first, we will call to see if it is failed, yes, no. If it is failed, then we can make an exist function. To use this exist, we have to use this std_libit, so then we exist. So no need to continue if your program is just to read write from this, and you can exist. So no need to go to these steps in this steps let's talk about it. Like here, this. Here I said first, I include this as std_lib, which means that to include to use the exist function. And here I include the IOS stream and the F stream, because it seems that I need to have an CNC output, so I need to do this. And there is an IF stream and OF stream, so I need also F stream. I create the input file stream and the output file stream, so I create if stream and output F stream, so in stream, out stream. I make the in stream open in file.dat that we did it here. You see here now there is something new. There is, we double check if this functionality is executed in a correct way. Yes, no. This is what I said in stream.open in file.dat, which means that has this file is opening in a correct way. Plus, does this file is before this file exists, or if this open connection doesn't go in a correct way, the error that will be from this one will be catched by calling .fail. So .fail will return true or false for me. So which means that if there is something happen, if there is no connection, then there is a fail. So I will make a cout for the user telling input file opening fail. For example, this file doesn't exist. And then I will call exit1. I call exit1 because I have already included stdlb, which means that since this program is based on reading, writing from a file, no need to continue. Go ahead and exit the program. I will do it in both cases. So after I will create this toStream object, whenever there's an open connection with the file, I will call .fail, because .fail will give me the status of the open. So if it is failed, I will leave a message to the user and make an exit in this case. And we should always do this. Before we'll go further and read write, we should be sure that we have already established a connection with the file and the file exists and we can read and write from this file in this case. And now we can go for the rest of our code as we did before. Now, sometimes we need to take the name from the file as, for example, here, and we can do it in use and saving in character array, the name, taking one by one, or we can save it also in a string variable if you don't use your character. This is just an example that here you make, you ask the user to go ahead and save, you create an array, then you set for the user, make a cout, please, to the output file, enter the name, the input of the file. You save the input in this array, and then you save the output if they are not the same file dealing with it. Here in the, when you go ahead to the open, you send what you have already received from the user and double check if this, what you have already received, exists. And then if not, then you will make an exit and leave this message to the user. And you can go ahead and do what we have already done before in this case. This is what today I want to share with you, just the basics, and we are going to practice now and exercise with each other. About next will be to go more advanced and about how to deal with in the input-output connection. What we so far we have already discussed, that how we can create the stream object, the output f stream and the file input stream, how we can open the connection, how we can read, and how we can write in a very basic level. Next time, we will go more advanced about this topic, input-output file stream, that we have discussed. Today I want to, yeah, go ahead, Kirsten.
Are you able to write data to a certain line in the file? Like, say you didn't want to write it to the first line, you wanted to write it to the fifth line.
Yeah,
you can do that?
You can do it.
Okay.
You can write whatever data you want in the same line, and then the size of the file will increase. Because the size of your file is based on the data you save it. So, but it depends. But again, you should go ahead and make a good structure when you save a data, because this will help you when you retrieve the data.
Oh yeah.
It is the same when you go to a bookshop or a library. Yeah. That if you don't put your book in a good manner in the shelves, when you want to retrieve a special book, it will take a long time.
Oh, okay.
So we have to do our best to do it in a well-organized way. Okay, so any more questions before we go to the group work exercise? Let's discuss what I need from you to practice now. We are going to write a program, a simple one, based on what we have already discussed, that take its input from a text file of numbers, which means that you will have a text file, .txt. In this file, there are some numbers. They can double, like 2, or they can be integer or double. But suppose you go ahead and deal with them as if they are double. 2, 4, 5, 6, whatever. You are going to read these values. And then, after reading these values, you are going to make the average, estimate the average. So you have to take the values, and then you are going to calculate the average of them. I think you need to make a loop about it. And then you are, after this, you will output in the screen the average of the number that are saved in the file. So you need to read now. I don't want you to save anything in the file. To read from the file, to take the input from the file, calculate the average of these numbers, and then print out in the screen the average number. So, any question about this exercise before we go to practice this? Okay. You want to do it? I need 3 thumbs up if you want to do it. Gerson. So Lisa, I need 1 more thumbs up. Cool, perfect. Like always, I will stop now recording and then we will record back when we be back here. Do we need read all lines? Yeah, you have to read all lines. You have to read all lines as a file.
I have a really quick question. So you said that for this lecture, we already know like how many lines are in the file, right? So can we just say we already know?
I said we expect that you know the types of the input. I didn't say line. I didn't say.
Okay. That makes
you have
sense.
to do now. You have to do a loop now. You have to think about how to create a loop then to stop when there is no any more value on the file.
Okay.
Like when there is no any more input. So I give you a hint. Make a loop where there is no any more input. An input, which means the input that reading this input stream.
Okay.
So let's go ahead. I will stop recording now, and then we will record again when we're back. I think that we can have 15-20 minutes to finish this exercise. Like always, we will be in 2 rooms, and I will visit you in different rooms now. So let's first stop recording and... Are you here? Who will Gerson, if you want, and Kura, or Donny and Viraj, who want to share his screen and let us see his code? Go ahead.
All right. Do you want me to like explain it, or are we just gonna...
Sorry?
Never mind. I mean, do you want me to explain the code or like just go through it, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, first I included all the files and stuff, namespace, all standard. Then I made an instance of the input file stream called the InStream, and then I opened the a connection between the InStream instance and the file, and then I did the thing where if the file doesn't open properly, then it'll say failed to open input file, and then it'll exit. And I made 3 integers, forgot to make them doubles. But the integer num sum is basically the sum of all the numbers in the in the file, and then the num of nums is like the amount of numbers that there are in the file. So if you have 3 numbers, this will be 3, and then the num sum will be the sum of all those 3 numbers. And then this integer current num is what the input stream is reading, or the current num will equal to what the input stream is currently reading. And then I made my while loop. So while input stream is like equal to while input stream is reading a number, it'll iterate. So it'll go num of nums. So it'll add 1 to how many numbers there are in the file, and then the num sum will plus equal to the current num. So it'll add itself to whatever value the current num is.
I see.
And then it'll in stream again, so it'll go to the next line, and then this current num will equal to whatever the next input stream is, and then it'll check again if it's an actual number or not. Perfect. And then once that's done, yeah, okay. Start debugging, and this is what it gets. So, yeah, it works.
Perfect, Kesson. Yeah, even though I have discussed with you during the room, but you have already done the whole code. The way you and your colleagues thinking in the logic of the code, it's perfect. It seems that you have more advanced level of thinking, because as I said, programming, it's a matter of logical thinking, how you can practice your mind. This is why I thought from the beginning that you have always to practice more in order to make this a training for your mind. The same like when you practice more sport, your body will be more trained. So your brain should be more trained if you practice more code in this case.
True.
I'm happy to see this, Kirsten.
Awesome, thank you. I'd like to hear that.
Okay, whatever the other groups, Viraj and Kura, Viraj, Story, and Donnie, maybe. Can you go ahead and do it? Yeah, Donnie. Donnie, do you have a mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Donnie always have more advanced more advanced functions, Donnie. We didn't discuss today about get lines and this. You use vectors, and you will have use more advanced one. You know coding before, yes, Donnie?
What?
I said you know before you taking this course, you have some knowledge in C++.
No. I haven't done any C++ before, but I have done many like Java and Python before.
Okay, so this is why you use the get lines, and we didn't discuss it in the lecture. Go ahead, Donnie.
Actually, I have a question about this.
Okay.
So as open, at first I just type input.txt, but it cannot read it.
The complete path. Yeah.
I put the input here, but it cannot read the input.txt. It cannot find the file. So where did it find the file if I don't put these things?
So it should be in the same folder where you saved your code.
So it is in the same folder as my code, but my code is here. And
no, it depends if you are using a debug or run. So it should be in the same place. I will share you when I go ahead to when I discuss my code. I will share. I will show you on my screen where you can find it.
Okay. And it is now running. Just
perfect. And then you use a vector, Donnie. You use a vector. Why you use a vector?
Because I defined split to double at here at my library, and it's return vector.
But no need for a vector. I just ask you that go ahead, return to the code. Return to your code, Donnie. So I ask you to just to get the values and make a loop and then get the summation and then the average. So can you tell me more why you use a vector? What is the need for the vector in this case?
I just think that it will be used again, like after this class, and to split something to a list. So I just define this function, and then I just call this function.
You created as for more advanced usage for this code, not for this case, but you expect that you can go more advanced usage for this code.
I think in the future I will use this function more times.
Okay, what about you, Viraj? Maybe don't you go more advanced? Yes, Viraj?
Yeah, I think it is. First of all, at that time I thought, what is doing? I didn't understand anything.
Okay, I see. No, he expects that maybe later he can go to more further code, and it seems that he has some code experience before using different languages. This is why he has to do or to practice the exercise in this way. In my case, my code will be somehow similar to what Firaj or Kerson has already done. So I will share my screen for you. So let me share the screen from my screen. So I have already similar code that Kerson had already done, but rather than go ahead and put the name of the file, I ask the user to give me the name of the file. But however, I will write the same name where my file it is. So I ask the user the name of the file. However, this file should be already created because we are now in a very basic level. We'll talk more advanced about if it is not created, how we deal with it. But so far, what we have already discussed, that I asked the user here to enter the file name, and then I will make an input just to practice how can input using the file name as a character array, and then I see if it is failed. To be sure that if input.fail, then it's cannot open file exit 1. And then I read from the first line, and then make a while loop while input the input exists, which means that this input doesn't point to a null value. There are still a values. Go line by line, and I count the lines, and then make a sum. And then each time I read from a line, then I will go to the sum and add the sum value. Out of the loop, I will make the average, which is sum divided by the count, and then I will go ahead and print out the average. Viraj, are you okay for this code with this code? Viraj? Yes, okay, perfect. So then normally either here you have to give a complete pass. Here I ask with a name, but I expect that the user will give me the name of the file where it is being saved, the file with the name that is being saved. So if I will go here, say users, I use Visual Studio. So the Visual Studio users, and go here to source. Okay. Then go to repository. Here I can see the whole let's see, the whole solution that we use it. This is a solution now. I go, to console solution. This is a file advice, I name it. Here's a file. So it should be saved in the same place where the different files here. How I can go based on the editor that you're using where it's saved the source code. So it should be in the same, or I have to give the complete pass. Now I will run my code. So go ahead, run. Enter the file name, 12 character or less. So I will write advice as it is where it is dot text. So if we open the file here, it should have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the average would be 2.5 in this case. 3, 4, 2, 1, it is 10. So 10 divided by 4, it should give us 2.5. So returning here. So I give it advice of text. So the average of the 4 number is 2.5. As we hear already, as it was expected. So do you still have any question for today's lecture? The next lecture, we'll talk about input-output stream, but with more advanced tool to use it, based on the basics that we have already learned today. So if you don't have any more question, just give me 2 thumbs up to leave. Or we, like always, I will stay here. Thank you all so much, Cora, Viraj, Donnie, Kerson. Enjoy the rest of the day. Like always, any question, just drop me an email. I will do my best to reply as soon as. Take care all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.